Welcome back to another Tabs Top 10. Today we are looking at the top 10 best ranged units. I am your host, ZEROdeaths. Let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 10, we have the spooky faction Skeleton Archers. Due to the low cost of archers, you hardly ever see them by themselves, so for most of these archers here, we're going to be putting them in groups, and it'll be taken into consideration of our scoring. We're going to be taking a look at a handful of qualities of these units. We're going to be looking at how effective they are against one very strong unit, how effective they are against groups, how much health each unit has, and how much damage they do. Starting with number 10, we have the Skeleton Archer. We just watched about 15 Skeleton Archers go up against the King, and the damage over time was pretty effective, taking him down relatively quickly. Then we just looked at 15 Fire Archers versus 15 normal Archers. There wasn't much difference as they do about the same damage, and their health pool is pretty similar. But when going up against a Mammoth, the damage over time absolutely makes quick work of the Mammoth. Coming in at number 9. At number 9, we have the Dynasty Factions Ninja unit. We have 15 of them here, and we're putting them up against one tough unit. So we have a Mammoth. They killed him in just under 4 seconds. So they're pretty effective in groups. One of my favorite units to test out against ranged units is the Knight, due to their shield that blocks almost every single projectile unless it hits his feet or his head. Here we have 15 ninjas going up against 3 knights, and they make pretty quick work of him, and they don't really lose a single unit. So up here we have the ninjas going up against the Ice Giant. Going up against a unit like the Ice Giant with that much damage and that much health, the ninjas really can't hold their own, and they get wiped out fairly quickly. Coming in at number 8 on our list, we have the Renaissance Factions Musketeer. One thing to note about the Musketeers is that they are the only ranged unit that can shoot through the Knight's shield, as well as other units that use a shield. Against other ranged units, the Musketeers don't really have any sort of great advantage. They fire much slower and do slightly more damage, but the low health pool of ranged units to begin with makes it so that it's very unnoticeable. We're going to take a look one more time at the Musketeers versus Shield Wall. It's important to note that the Musketeers bullet can travel through up to 3 enemy units. So 3 shields, 3 units, and it can one-shot many melee units with a high health pool, such as the Knight. Their high damage and moderate cost make them a great unit to spawn in groups to take out strong units such as Zeus. He can take them out in just one shot. Also, here is the Musketeer firing line. 15 Musketeers up against 1 Mammoth. We can kind of see that it takes him a little bit longer to kill the Mammoth than it did the ninjas in the same numbers, but the Musketeers are also slightly cheaper. 15 Musketeers cost relatively in the same range as much as a Tree Giant. So here we're looking at 15 Musketeers up against a Tree Giant. We can see, very similar to the Mammoth, that the Musketeers can make fairly quick work with only 2 or 3 fires to take out the broccoli monster. Number 7 on our list is one of my absolute favorite units in the game. We have the Ice Archer from the Viking faction. The Ice Archer was one of the coolest units for me when the game first came out, because they were one of the only units with a special ability to turn enemies into ice. I found that super cool. Up against solo units, the Ice Archer can be one of the most effective units in the entire game. Even up against groups, they can serve as an excellent distraction for other units to move in and make the kill by slowing down not only the movement speed, but the attack speed of enemies. Due to the virtually non-existent damage of the Ice Archers and their relatively low health pool, it makes them almost ineffective against other ranged units, as we're going to watch just a group of normal archers take out Ice Archers with fairly no problem. Coming in at number 6 on our list, we have the Snake Archers. Snake Archers can be one of the most effective units you have on the battlefield, as they essentially double their numbers when they fire out their snakes. Similar to Musketeers, Snake Archers can be an absolutely beast of a unit to use if you're going up against a shield wall, as the snakes will go behind them and scramble their units, distracting them for other units to go in for the kill. The biggest crutch for ranged units when going up against a really strong unit in particular is that once the strong unit with a large health pool and high damage closes the gap between him and the ranged units, it's pretty much game over. The benefit that you have when using snake units is that the snakes will distract the other unit, in this case the king, and giving the ranged unit more than enough time to fire off several shots to get the job done and take out the strong unit. When up against other ranged units, the snake archers are absolutely incredible, as these snake archers will distract the enemy archers, once again allowing them to fire off as many rounds as they need to finish the job. Now that we are in the top 5 best ranged units, we're going to be taking a look at them by themselves. So coming in at number 5, we have the god Zeus. When it comes to taking out entire groups, and few do it better than Zeus can with his chain lightning ability. He can chain up to 10 plus units with one throw of a lightning bolt. But when it comes up to 1v1s, sometimes Zeus's low health pool and moderate damage make him kind of a little weak when going up against units like the king. A unit like Zeus can be fairly weak when by himself, but if he has the proper support and distraction units around him, he can be a very formidable foe. Again, here we're going to take a look at how Zeus does when up against a very aggressive unit in a 1v1. The Minotaur has, again, high health, high damage, and he's very aggressive as he has his charge ability to close the gap, and a unit like Zeus without any support just can't hold up against him in a 1v1. Coming in at number 4 on our list is one of the latest additions to tabs. We're going to be taking a look at the new spooky factions, Swordcaster. The Swordcaster has an incredibly high rate of fire, but he does lack and fall short a little bit in his health pool, and his damage is moderately low. It takes 2 swords to take out a squire. While the Swordcaster is undeniably one of the strongest units in the game, he falls a little short when it comes to 1v1s due to his very low health pool. It takes only 1 hit from a significantly strong unit such as the king to take him out. Here we're going to take a look at how the Swordcaster performs up against the knight. His ability to throw swords behind his target is incredibly effective when taking out shielded units. However, his low health pool does make him fall a little bit lower on the list. All of this will take us down to our top 3 best ranged units in tab. So here we're going to take a look at Olir from the Secret Unit faction. Olir is an absolute beast of a unit. He might even be better against groups than he is in 1v1s. When he throws his axe, the AoE ability that comes out of it will freeze as many enemies as there are within the vicinity. While being an absolute beast against groups, he's also incredible at 1v1s when versing units of equal or lower cost. Here he is up against a knight, and we'll see it does not take too many axes to completely freeze the knight, rendering him useless. Even after the first axe throw, his opponents become incredibly weakened, walking at about half the speed and attacking half as fast. This makes him an insanely formidable opponent, and he can 1v1 most units in the game with ease, as we just witnessed in the past few effortlessly won 1v1s. With only 2 more to go, this will take us to number 2 on our list. We're going to be taking a look at the Sensei up against an entire army of squires. The Sensei's knockback, incredibly fast rate of fire, and damage will take out this entire army with ease. He will not even get hit a single time, making him one of the strongest independent ranged units in the game, if not the strongest. But even the strongest units have vulnerabilities, and that vulnerability for the Sensei will be going up against knights. The Knight Shield makes it virtually impossible for a Sensei to deliver even a single ninja star, making them absolutely OP and almost unstoppable up against the Sensei. However, when going up against even some of the strongest units in the game, as long as they don't have a shield, the Sensei can hold his own, as he has an insane amount of knockback, as we see here up against the Mammoth. The Mammoth can barely close the gap up against the Sensei, and the Sensei makes fairly quick work of him without taking too much damage. And now we have arrived at number 1 on our list of the top 10 best ranged units in Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. We're going to be taking a look at Artemis from the Secret faction. Artemis came out and was an absolute monster from the start. When she was first released, she came out as the absolute best unit across the entire game. Artemis' incredibly high rate of fire, high health pool, and high damage makes her capable of 1v1ing even an ice giant by herself. Unfortunately, right now, there's a bug in the game where Artemis' arrows will travel through melee units as of the last patch. Hopefully it'll get fixed soon, but as you can see here, her arrows are just going through the unit and not causing any damage. Unfortunately, we can't really take a good look at all of her abilities due to this bug right now, but hopefully in the near future it'll be patched. Thank you guys for watching my top 10 tabs best range units. If you have any suggestions for another top 10 tabs, please leave it down in the comments below. I am ZEROdeaths as always, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one.